guys, today I'm going to be going over every single eyeshadow that I have in my go-to Z palette. This is my go-to palette. I pick it up every single time I get ready, and anytime I do my makeup, I will use at least one eyeshadow from this palette. Probably more than that, but I'm going to say at least one. Anytime I go on vacation or travel anywhere, this is the palette that I bring. What's so great about this palette is that each and every single shadow is a go-to favorite of mine, and I can create tons and tons of different looks with this palette. But as you can see, they are all neutrals with the exception of like this bright ass purple color over here. On a day-to-day basis, that is pretty much all I do. Of course, today I have on like a super neon makeup look, but yeah, overall, like I just do neutral looks, and I also love plum and purples here. So I consider those neutrals because that's just like my go-to thing. If you guys have been subscribed to me for just, I mean, really not even that long, you will have seen this palette because this is what I use in every single video, hands down. So I'm gonna go over every single eyeshadow, give it a swatch, show you them side by side and whatnot. And down below, there will be a link to every single eyeshadow, where you can get it, stuff like that, because if you want to customize your own palettes, you can mix it with your own shadows, but maybe I can give you some recommendations and whatnot. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just jump right into the video. The first color that you see on the top left is Shroom by MAC. This is a very light, pearly kind of highlight shade. It's great if you have my skin tone or lighter and you want that frosty highlight but without going overboard. It's really, really pretty, and I think it's like a more neutral undertone. If you are super, super tan, this might be a little bit too light and frosty for you, but for me, this is the perfect highlight shade. Next to that one, I have Nylon by MAC. It is a yellow golden based highlight shade, and it's super, super frosty. I love this for the inner corner. I love it for a highlight on the face. I got that tip from Jaclyn Hill as well, and also on the brow bone, but you can get really carried away with the shadow because it is so frosty. So if you have it or you plan on getting it, be very careful and try not to be too heavy-handed with it because you can easily go overboard. Next, I have Vanilla Bean. This I use as like a fixer-upper shade. It has a little bit of a sheen, and this one, by the way, is from Makeup Geek. It has a little tiny bit of a sheen to it, but when I put it on my eyes, I really don't notice the sheen. But it's basically, it's a little bit lighter than my skin tone, and I use it as a matte highlight, or I will use it to fix any mistakes that I make. I actually show you in this eye tutorial how I used that color to fix my eyeshadow. Because it's very close to the color of my skin, I can use it to fix any mistakes that I made. Next to Vanilla Bean, I have Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek. This is a yellow based transition shade. I love this as like a base transition shade into the crease. On me, it's a little bit more golden, but on a lot of people, it's the perfect neutral because a lot of people have more of that yellow golden undertone in their skin. If you have more of a cool tone in your skin, you're gonna wanna go more towards Vanilla Bean and the next one that I'm gonna show you. So the next one is Birkin from Anastasia. This is a cooler toned brown. On me, because I'm so fair, it comes up more warm, but compared to all of the other browns in the palette, it is definitely more of a cool or a neutral toned brown. But this is another really amazing transition shade for the crease area. It's one of my favorite go-to shadows. Anastasia is one of my favorite eyeshadow brands. Next to Birkin, we have Latte from Makeup Geek. This is the perfect cool tone neutral brown for the crease or the outer corner, and I love it for a nice neutral brown if I'm doing like a cool toned look. So if you're doing, let's say, like a purple smoky eye, or if you're just doing like grays or whatever and you need like a brown in there, Latte is gonna be perfect because it's not too warm and it's not gonna like clash with any of the other colors. Then if you wanted basically that same color except more warm, we have Frappe. This is also from Makeup Geek, and I swear it is just the warm version of Latte from Makeup Geek. We're gonna go right underneath right here to this shadow. This is M738 from Makeup Forever. It's like a terracotta warm brown with a little bit of orange in it. It is gorgeous. I actually just slipped this in here today because I found that I was grabbing it from my other palettes all the time, and I was like, why is it not in this palette? So I took away some shadows that I wasn't using at all and put this in here because it does take up more space, but it worked. So this is one of my favorite shadows. The only downside of Makeup Forever eyeshadows is that they are pretty pricey. I believe they're like between $20 and $23 each, which really sucks. But I know if you get two in the palette, you can get one eyeshadow for free or something like that. I don't know if that's exactly how it works, but it works something like that. Now we're gonna move over to the second row. This is Bengal from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is very similar to Birkin, but a little bit more warm. It's very, very pretty, and it's just a really great transition shade into the crease. I'm the kind of person, I know I've got like a lot of like warm and cool transition shades, but I don't just use one. A lot of the times I will sit here and I'll mix them together. Like I will grab my brush and I'll pick up a little bit of this and then a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a dash of this, and I'll kind of like create my own concoction on my eyes. So that's why I love to have all of those colors kind of clustered together, and I will use them when I feel like I need them. This next color is a foiled eyeshadow from Makeup Geek. It's called Grandstand, and this is one of my favorite all-time go-to eyeshadows for the lid. I'm actually not too much of a frosty person. As you can see, these are the only frosty shades that I have, and the rest is matte. I prefer a matte smoky eye. I mean, obviously I'm gonna use shimmer as well because it's, you know, it's nice, but overall I'm more of a matte person. But this is one of my favorite lid shades. It's like the perfect neutral bronzy shade for my skin tone. When you get a little bit more tan, it turns a little bit pinky and it turns a little bit more taupey. But for me, it's like the perfect bronzy neutral brown shade, and it's my favorite. With the foiled eyeshadows from Makeup Geek, you can wet your brush with Fix Plus and make them even more intensified. Is that a word? Make them more intense and metallic looking, and that's one of my favorite ways to use these eyeshadows. You don't need to do that because they're so pigmented on their own, but you definitely could. Another foiled shadow from Makeup Geek is In the Spotlight. This is like a neutral kind of shade. It's got like a little bit of warmness into it, but you could use this on your lid, you can use it in your inner corner. It's just so beautiful. The same formula as the one before, and this one is just a little bit lighter. Next, I have All That Glitters from MAC. I actually don't use this one too often, but I noticed that like if I take it out of my palette, I'm gonna wanna have it back in there. I will randomly use this on days where I want to do like a no makeup look, and I just sweep that across my lid. I love the way that looks. It's just like the perfect pinky bronzy shade, and it doesn't have too much of an intense shine like the foiled shadows, but it's got a beautiful sheen that just looks really good all over the eyelid. Now, if you want like an intense shimmery highlight shade, you're gonna like this color here. This color is Shimma Shimma from Makeup Geek. I feel like this has a little bit more of a shimmer to it than Nylon, but it's in this same realm. It's like a super bright highlighted effect, but it's not as yellow either. Right underneath Shimma Shimma, we're gonna go right here, and this is Pink Champagne from Anastasia. This is one of her metallic shadows, and whenever my friend Candace comes over and we get ready together, that is her go-to shade. She picks it up, and that is what she uses every single time. And it really is that beautiful, and I feel like it describes itself. It is a pink champagne kind of shade. It's like a champagne-y, rosy, I don't even know. It's a beautiful lid color. This is like a super foiled kind of shade, and they're very comparable to the foiled shadows from Makeup Geek. Now we're moving into the cool shades. So next I have Corey from MAC. This is like a slate grayish kind of color with a purple undertone. This is the most perfect crease shade if you were doing a purple smoky eye or a cool tone smoky eye. I love it. It is a great color that you can definitely build up to make more smoky, and I love it on the bottom lash line as well. The next shade is a little bit more pink. This is Petal Pusher from Makeup Geek. It's the same kind of thing as Corey, except it has more pink in it. A great transition shade for cool tone looks. You can also use those use this one if you're doing more of like a pinky look as well. The next shadow is Dusty Rose from Anastasia. This is a little bit deeper than Petal Pusher, and it has a little bit more mauve in it. I love Dusty Rose with Pink Champagne from Anastasia. Both of those together, I feel like they're made for each other in my opinion. And just like the Pink Champagne shade, I feel like Dusty Rose is the perfect name for it because it looks like a dusty rose color. The next shadow we have here is Cherry Cola from Makeup Geek, and that also describes it perfectly. It's like a cherry cola kind of color. I put this here because if I'm doing like a regular neutral brown smoky eye, but it needs that extra pop of dimension in the outer corner, I'll add some cherry cola because it warms it up a little bit and it adds just a little bit of pop. But you can also do like a full-blown crazy smoky eye with this color too, and it looks really pretty. You could also pair it with your cool tone shades like purples and whatnot if you wanted, because it's just that perfect undertone that you could use for both. Kind of jumping back into the brown shades here, but this is Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek. I guess I should have did that when I did this Makeup Forever shadow, but this is like a toned down version of that Makeup Forever eyeshadow. It is a great warm brown color. It's super pigmented. It is identical to Brown Script from MAC. It's just a really great brown to have in your collection because you can use it for regular brown smoky eyes or natural eyes, and you can also use it if you're doing like more of like a burnt orange kind of thing as like a really great transition shade. Next to that I have Corrupt from Makeup Geek, and it's just a matte black. This is just it's a basic black. There's nothing special about it, to be honest. I do use it all the time. As you can see, it's really worn. But if I'm looking for like a really inky black, I will actually grab my Naked 2 palette because that has the inkiest black that I've ever used in my life. But that's only when I'm going for like super intense dramatic looks. So if you're just looking for a basic black to use, you know, whenever you need just your basic black, the Makeup Geek one is great. Down here in the bottom corner, we have Mocha. This is a really awesome neutral dark brown. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, so you could use it for both cool and warm tone looks. It's really awesome for brides. It's a really great go-to brown. Moving back into cool tone looks, I have Barcelona Beach. This is like a lighter cool toned version of Mocha. I hope my descriptions make sense, but that's exactly what it is. It's a lighter, more cool tone version of Mocha, and it's just really great for the outer corner and the crease area when you're doing cool tone looks, and it's one of my go-to colors that I use all the time. This color is like a color that I think everybody needs to have no matter what, and this is Americano from Makeup Geek. This is identical to Embark, and I used to have both of them in here, but I find that I keep going to Americano more than Embark because the formula of the Makeup Geek eyeshadows are more buttery in my opinion than MAC eyeshadows. I actually love them a lot more. So I mainly use this for outer corners, just to deepen up the crease, and it's really, really rich in pigment, so it's not going to make it look ashy at all. Sometimes if I pick up the wrong deep dark chocolate brown and I put it over another color, sometimes it won't work and it'll turn ashy. This doesn't do that. It goes on really, really pigmented. It's super rich, just like a deep, rich chocolatey brown, and I love it. I actually use it every single day to fill in my little freckle. The next color here is Foley from MAC, and this is actually just gonna be here momentarily because I'm gonna switch it out for Swiss Chocolate from MAC. Really, how long has this been here? This eyeshadow won't be here forever. I had Swiss Chocolate from MAC, but when I was working one day, it fell and shattered everywhere. So when I went to go get a new one, they said that they were out of it, and Foley is very similar. And it's similar, but it's not Swiss Chocolate, it's different. So I miss Swiss Chocolate a lot. That's one of my go-to shades. So, but Foley is a little bit more red than Swiss Chocolate, I would think. And Swiss Chocolate has a little bit more purple in it. So this is Foley from MAC. And it's just kind of taking the place of Swiss Chocolate until I get around to getting Swiss Chocolate again. This next shade is Blackberry from MAC. And oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite eyeshadows ever. I love doing just a very cool toned gray purple eye look that's not too smoky, but a little bit smoky, and this eyeshadow is perfect for that. I feel like the name Blackberry absolutely describes this perfectly, and I love it. The next shade is Sketch from MAC, and I've had this eyeshadow for so long. This was one of the first eyeshadows that I ever bought when I first started watching YouTube, like years and years and years ago. It's a really deep plum eyeshadow with some red specks in it. You really can't see the red specks, but when you're looking at the eyeshadow, you can kind of see it, but it's a beautiful shade. It's great all over the lid. You can put it in the crease, and it's great for purple smoky eyes. And then last, but certainly not least, I think I saved the best for last. This is my most favorite eyeshadow ever, and it is the perfect deep pigmented plum purple. This should just be called perfect because I love it so much. It's M928 from Makeup Forever. I have it on my bottom lash line right now, but I actually use this all the time. It is just a beautiful, beautiful purple. Right when these eyeshadows came out, I saw this color and I couldn't afford it at the time, and it sold out so fast. So even if I could, there was no way I was gonna get my hands on it, and I had this look in my mind of this just all over my lid, smoked out. And so finally, a year later, when they finally came back in stock with this color, I bought it, and right away I did a tutorial on it. So I will link that up here because it is my most favorite makeup look I've ever done to this day. And it is just, oh, this color is just so, so beautiful. And that's M928 from Makeup Forever. If you can get your hands on it, I would definitely recommend it because it's a very unique shade that I have never found any color that comes close to that color. So yeah. So that's every single eyeshadow that's in my go-to Z palette. I did purchase this empty Z palette at Sephora. However, it is a little bit too thick. I find that when I drop this palette, they kind of move because it's thicker for like thicker shadows and thicker products and stuff. So I might actually replace this with a thinner one so that they don't do that. Again, I did get every single eyeshadow individually and I put it in here. You can't buy this as a whole, as one piece from like Sephora or whatever. You can just buy the palette separately and then each eyeshadow separately, and you put it in here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for recommending that I do this video. I think that this is such a great idea to share, and I hope more people do this kind of video because I want to see what's in everybody else's go-to palette. So if there's any other requests that you guys have that's similar to this, let me know down below in the comment section. If there's like, you know, my go-to colorful palette or like my top 5 palettes or, you know, anything like that, let me know down below because I would love to do those videos. So thank you guys so much for requesting this video and watching this video all the way to the end. If there are any shadows that you recommend that I put in this palette, let me know down below. And if you have any questions or anything, let me know down below as well, and I will talk to you down there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.